Life, the universe, everything. Everything started off as a small little speck of nothing. And it makes you feel really insignificant when you realize what's out there. That's why you don't think about it.
I remember this game being so heavily advertised and hyped up back when it was coming out. I was very interested in it, but it got delayed a couple times, and when the Creature Creator came out before the game, I played with it in an Apple store and got a bit frustrated because of the way that it controlled. I completely forgot about it, passing on it when it was released. I didn't even know that the game had 2 expansion packs and several spin-offs. I couldn't dig up much development history on the game. It was developed by Maxis, the same studio that does SimCity, and designed by Will Wright, who left EA and Maxis in 2009. I thought Maxis was shut down last year, but it was only their Emeryville studio. I'm not sure if it was their only studio or what, but Maxis still exists. But maybe they exist in name only. I'm not sure, and someone will probably clarify that in the comments below. Graphically, the game looks slightly dated for something that came out in 2008. There's quite a bit of geometry tearing and some textures look rather low res, but this could be the result of a prolonged development period. The game isn't bad graphically though, because of the highly stylized cartoon look they went for, which, as I've brought up many times before, tend to last longer than going for something that's extremely realistic. However, there is an issue with performance. I saw a lot of textures and geometry load slowly or just pop into view. That has to do with programming. Probably poor optimization. If my computer can run the new Doom at 1080p at 60 frames per second in the highest settings, then there should be few reasons for slow geometry and texture loading for an 8-year-old game. The sound is pretty good. It's mostly ambient sound effects and whatever gibberish the creatures decide to utter. When it comes to what kind of game Spore is, it's a mix of genres that spans 5 levels, which are cell, creature, tribe, civilization, and space. When you start the game, you begin as a single-celled organism. You choose to either be a carnivore or herbivore, and you swim around eating whatever food you need. The more food you eat, the more DNA points you gain, and will also allow you to collect body parts. And to modify your cell, you call for a mate, which brings the cell creation screen, where you can modify the look and even change from herbivore to carnivore and back again. And you can also become an omnivore when you get the right mouth parts. Then you proceed to the creature stage, where you grow legs and walk on land. From there, you still need to collect DNA points, but not from eating. Your actions with other creatures will determine your evolutionary path. You can attack other creatures or befriend them. Some will always be hostile towards you, or others will be neutral, and your actions towards them will determine if they ally or attack. I went with the pacifist route, choosing to befriend other creatures and only fighting when I needed to, as I tend to do in most games that give me this choice. During this time, you'll collect more body parts, which you'll still use the mating mechanic to modify your creature. This portion of the game works very much like an MMORPG, but in a very basic sense, as you're not here for that long. Each body part has stats for social, combat, and health, so you can build your creature to have very good social skills, allowing you to sing, dance, charm, or pose your way to the top. Or you can choose fighting, allowing you to literally claw your way to the top of the food chain. And there's parts that help with speed and jumping as well. After you get enough DNA points to become sentient, it'll allow you to move to the next level and form a tribe. You'll be able to fashion clothes and use tools. Your creature design is considered finalized and you can't modify anymore. So you'll need to make sure you've explored every nook and cranny for creature parts if you're not satisfied with its look. From this point on, you need to either befriend 5 tribes or conquer them all. The game takes on a real-time strategy method from here, as you'll control multiple creatures at once. You no longer collect DNA points. Food takes its place, and you'll need to constantly gather it as you protect your tribe from raiders and other dangers. And depending on your actions during the creature stage, your tribe's chief will get 2 of 8 possible powers. I was able to call down refreshing rain and fireworks. Once you befriend or conquer the other tribes, you move on to the civilization stage. From here, your creature is the dominant species of the planet, but they have their own nations, and it's a matter of conquering these nations through military force, religious propaganda, or through economics. Spore Bucks replaces food as the resource. Here's where I realized that I screwed up. I decided to use music to make the 5 tribes my allies, which resulted in my civilization becoming a religious one, not the economic superpower that I'd hoped it would be. So I was not able to buy the other cities like I was hoping for. Instead, I had to convert all the cities to my way of thinking, which if you don't work fast, you're pretty screwed, as the opposing nations, especially the military-based ones, will quickly start taking each other over, making it harder to conquer them all. And trying to convert the other cities is considered an act of war, and there's no peaceful resolution to it. So I had to take the sit and wait approach. Well, actually I took a nap and let the game run, allowing me to amass a ton of wealth, as there's other nations that wouldn't attack me because I was friendly with them. Then a single empire ruled over all the other cities. So I built up a large army of religious propaganda cars, and then I took them over in a Zerg rush tactic. I decided to keep them as military cities as the empire that they were based on was military. So I was able to take advantage of that to amass a huge army and then took over each city. And when there were 2 cities left over to take, I had just used a religious uprising to take over what little remained of the opposing nation.
So yes, to get to space, I had to instigate a holy war. Well, I guess my little creatures just wanted to get closer to their god, but joke's on them. They're not real. Tragic.
And then you finally make it to space, where you go from planet to planet, establishing colonies, continuing to befriend or conquer other planets. And there's still hostile empires that you'll have to face, and it's where the game starts pushing a narrative, where it talks about an evil empire called the Grox that's your eventual goal of defeating. The game worlds are procedurally generated, so you're not going to see the same worlds twice. But I'm not going to say that you won't get the same experience twice, because I'm sure you'll be able to replicate the same circumstances you did to achieve previous results. Because it's not all that complicated of a game. This is a game that you can easily sink hours upon hours of time into and not even realize it. Several times I looked out the window and noticed that the sun was either coming up or already down, and then I had to gorge myself on food since I was starving. The level of customization really immerses you into the game, but there's times where it feels like the game just stops, because you need to accumulate resources. In the early stages of the game it feels like you're doing a lot, but once you get to the tribe levels and beyond, the game loses its luster as it becomes what all Maxis games are known for, which is micromanagement being the main gameplay factor. You'll be going back and forth between places, gaining resources, doing stuff to gain more resources, using those resources to build stuff, using that stuff to go to other places and do more stuff. Once you reach that tribe stage, there's really no reason to hang around it. The cell and creature stages still have stuff for you to do once you collected enough DNA points to advance to the next stage, like collecting more body parts to customize your creature. But after you ally or conquer the 5 tribes, there's nothing keeping you there. You can tame animals, but there seems to be no reward for it. In the tribe and civilization stages, but it's nowhere near as extensive as actually making the creatures themselves. When your empire takes over the world, there's no reason for you to stay on your planet anymore. Once you max everything out, and once you're in space, that MMORPG feeling kicks in again. Go here, get this, go there, do that. It's pretty much building a virtual Lego town, which is always fun, but I'll admit that I got rather bored during the tribal and civilization stages, which could be due to how I played the game since I took a pacifist route. But it wasn't until I decided to take a militaristic path is when the game started getting fun, but I did that just so I could get to space and continue it. And depending how you play the game, you can get to space in maybe 6 hours and then be on your way to defeat the Grok. So while the game can be a time sink, it doesn't need to be.
All in all, Spore is a pretty decent game, but I don't think it's worth the $20 price tag it has on it right now. So if you want to play it, get it on a sale, maybe 50% off, $15 at the most. But I think maybe $10 is the better price.